Terrence Bradley text messages are now online, and we're going to go through a couple of them to see what's inside because they confirm what we already knew. Terrence Bradley was on the stand, and he was either lying then or he's lying now. He was either lying to Ashley Merchant or he's lying to the court to cover for Fani and Nathan Wade's relationship. And so we got a couple text messages that came out from Phil Holloway, and he is an attorney, and I don't know how he got these records so quickly, but he's got them, and we're going to see what's inside. Now, he also appeared on with Megyn Kelly and talked about even more text messages, and so we're hopeful that we finally get the full dossier of all these things, but it may be some time until they hit the interwebs, and so we'll take a look at a couple of them in the meantime. But before we look at them, let's refresh our recollection. What did Terrence Bradley say when he was on the stand again for the second evidentiary hearing? Just as a refresher, he gave us some details, and Charlie Kirk clipped this one for us and said that there were strange things afoot there. And remember, Bradley was Nathan Wade's ex-attorney and friend, and he told us in text messages something very differently than what he told the court during the evidentiary hearing.
Wade were in a romantic relationship, correct?
Correct.
And it began at the time that they were both municipal court judges, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, based on privilege. That would be covered in the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, overruled. I do not have knowledge of it starting or when it started.
Terrence, you told me that it started when they were both municipal court judges, though, correct?
That is incorrect.
When you told me that it started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton, where did you gain that knowledge from?
I'm going to object. His testimony a few minutes ago is that he did not recall making that statement.
All right, I'll overrule that. Mr. Bradley, answer the question if you can.
Repeat the question.
When you told me that their relationship started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton, where did you obtain that knowledge from?
I was speculating. I didn't have no one told me I was speculating.
No one told you that?
No one told me that.
Out of thin air.
You were speculating based on things that had been told to you or things you had observed?
I'm going to object as to the nature of this line of questioning because the witness has made it clear he was speculating as to how or what he knew. And if it's speculation, it's inadmissible for this court.
All right, but the motivations for his reason for speculating would be admissible, so I'll overrule that.
Thank you, Judge. Was this speculation when you told me that? Was that based on things that had been told to you and things that you had witnessed?
I never witnessed anything, so it was speculation. I can't tell you anything specific if that's what you're asking.
You can't tell me anything specific as to why you speculated about that?
This was however many years ago. I mean, I don't recall, but no, I don't.
Did you have any reason to lie?
Waiting for the objection. Did you?
I don't know if speculation is lying, but...
And Judge, I just want for the record, because sometimes the record doesn't reflect where people are looking, and that when I ask a question, Mr. Bradley is looking at Mr. Wade and his lawyer to wait for them to object, and they're clearly interacting somehow in the court. So I just want the record to reflect that because it wouldn't otherwise.
All right, so that dude was lying through his teeth, right? You could feel it in your bones. And these are the text messages that came from Phil Holloway. And he broke a great story with Megyn Kelly, and so shout out to those guys. They got their hands apparently on the full text messages, and so we're hopeful that they'll drop those for all of us to go through every single stinking one of them, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But he did drop a couple of these, so make sure you're following Phil Holloway ESQ because he's got the goods, baby. And he shared this one. He says, breaking, text used in court between Ashley Merchant and Terrence Bradley says they began their affair before she took office. Right now, this is what Ashley Merchant was showing us, and we're likely going to see all these as various exhibits and stuff submitted. So, but this is like a screenshot, right? So this got shared over to Phil Holloway, and I love it. He says, this is a message to Terrence, and on the green, that is going to be Ashley Merchant. She says, like, just date him, talking about Big Fanny. Like, just date him, okay? Don't hire him. Do you think it started before she hired him? Talking about Nathan Wade. And here's Terrence, okay, who's speculating. Here's what speculation sounds like. I don't recall. I'm just speculating. Here's what he said. Absolutely. It started when she left the DA's office and was judge in South Fulton. Oh, that's a pretty good speculation there. That's like a nice story. He should be like a novelist or something and write a fantasy novel because it's pretty good. It's pretty specific. She left the DA's office. She was a judge in South Fulton. They met at the municipal court CLE conference, and a CLE is continuing legal education. Happens all the time. Attorneys go to these CLEs. They're like, we're going to learn some law. Yeah, right. They go to the bar, go out to dinner, and apparently if you're Nathan and Fani, you do the hibbity-dibbity afterwards. So they met at the municipal court CLE conference, and Ashley says, that's what I figured when he was married. Okay, no response on that one. And this is Friday, January 5th. She sends another one to him. She says, is this accurate, right? So is this accurate on January 5th? And let me share this one, right? Here's another screenshot. Upon information and belief, and that's something you put in a motion. So he knows that, Terrence knows that that is a motion. motion. It says, upon information and belief, Willis and Wade, they met while both were serving as magistrate judges and began a romantic relationship at that time. Text message screenshot to Terrence from Ashley. Terrence responds, no, municipal court. Okay, it's a different court. Magistrate court, municipal court, city court, magistrate court. Maybe in Georgia it's a county court, but different courts. So municipal court. Thank you. Again, total speculation. This dude's just making it up out of his booty. I don't know. No, municipal court. I don't know. A CLE conference for judges when they both happen to be judges. And so this is just the beginning. Phil drops some more right on time. Thank you, Phil. Says, here are the key texts between Ashley Merchant and Terrence Bradley that are at issue in the Fani-Willis disqualification battle. And apparently Megyn Kelly has 31 pages of these things. All right. So go check out her channel because she covered a lot of this as well. But they're dropping them now, right? We're waiting for this fresh out of the oven, my friends. So they show a congenial collaborative effort between the two as Merchant attempted to investigate facts about the affair. So let's dig in. Ashley Merchant's iPhone, she says over to Terrence, says, okay, so the Fulton County District Attorney Open Records is saying they don't have an original contract for when Nathan began work. And this is in 2023. Didn't Terrence just say like that was years ago? Like, dude, that was 6 months ago. You were having these texts. 9/14/2023. It's about to be March. This guy's like, oh, that was like a decade ago. This was many years ago. It was 6 months ago. Okay, so Fulton County Open Records is saying that they don't have an original contract for when Nathan began the work. They only had his renewal contract. Is that possible? File attaches, looks like maybe it's a records request. He says, wow, they don't have it? You know, wow. Ashley says they're stalling big time. Terrence says, yes, they are. Oh, that must be more speculation there. Doesn't sound very speculative. Sounds like he knows what's up. Here's another one. Ashley Merchant says to Terrence Bradley, says, do you think she is going to deny talking about Fani from Ashley Merchant? Terrence Bradley says, no, I don't. Too many people saw their interactions. Wow. Ashley says, me too. I think they admit it. Oh, they didn't. And they should have, right? This is a point we made from the very beginning. If Fani had any honor and integrity, she would have just admitted it. Like, you got to come clean. We know this from when you're in, you know, a young boy, mom comes out and scolds you. All right, just come clean. Because if you don't, you're going to learn. You're going to learn your lesson. They're going to hit you with the evidence one after another, right? Mom always knows. So they didn't, right? Fani's like, we're under attack, racial and gender bias and racism. So Terrence, now he wants to know. He goes, wow, you're digging into this. So tell me, because I got screwed out of my law firm or whatever he's thinking. He says, how much was Anna Cross paid? Anna Cross was the woman who destroyed him on the stand and called him out for his assault. And the other special prosecutor, how much were they paid? Okay, he wants to know about the money now because he, you know, lost like 20 grand in that escrow account to pay off that person. So Ashley Merchant says Cross got 250 grand. Floyd got 150 grand, right? And that's on the 16th at 12:44. And so we're also trying to keep an eye on the timeline. So he's responding pretty quickly. Okay, so she sends a response. Like sometimes, you know, I can be pretty bad about my text messages. Like, yeah, I'll respond, but it's fast, right? So she sends this one, 11:57. Looks like that one was sent. 12:06. She sends another one. 12:41. He responds. She responds right back. 12:44. And so she says, okay, that's what they were getting paid. Now Wade was getting paid like $1 million, 700 grand. So dramatically out of proportion to those other numbers. Ashley also says, and they went to Australia in December. She says, OMG, they went to Belize. They went to Australia. They went to the Bahamas. They went to Napa. They went to Panama City Beach, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian cruise. And when I hear Norwegian cruise, I'm pretty sure they went to Norway. And if they didn't go to Norway, they wanted to go, because that's just what I think of when I think of Norwegian cruises, because it's Norwegian, you know? But anyways, wow. Okay. So they went to Australia too, the land down under, the Bahamas, Napa, Panama City Beach. They were all over the place. Okay. And she sent that this year. So this is like 2 months ago. So she sent this on 1/16. And Terrence is like, I don't remember any of this. Weird. He's like, that was a couple years ago. We just heard him say that. Give me a break. So what caused him to flip? Okay. He is perfectly communicating with Ashley and he's assisting her. Like, they are gossiping, right? This is a little bit of gossip, but totally relevant. She's like, OMG, they went to Belize, Australia, Bahamas, Napa. Ashley's like, I haven't been on a vacation in 7 years. I got a law practice to run, man. So now Ashley, like, they must follow each other on Facebook and stuff. Okay. So happy birthday. Love the pics. Terrence Bradley's having a lot of fun out with the fam, doing whatever. He says, thank you. So this is on 1/16. He's saying thank you. He's still texting her. He texted her that they are not going to deny this on 1/16. And when was the motion filed? Crazy. The motion was filed in February, like a month later. So Ashley sends him a message. Hey, just checking in on you. I'm going to be sending a subpoena for the 2/15 hearing, and I hope it doesn't go that far, but I need to be prepared. right? It's filed. I mean, the Roman motion, when was that filed? And let me just take a look. This was filed. This was the Mike Roman motion to dismiss. And we went through this in detail. Yeah, look, she submitted this on January 8th, right? This is the whole motion. So on January 8th, 2024, Ashley Merchant submitted the Mike Roman motion to dismiss. And boy, it was a beautiful thing. We covered it here. There it is. The motion to dismiss. So she sends it. It's filed with the clerk of the court right there. 1/8/2024. It's crazy. This dude is out of his mind. So, all right, we go back to this. The motion to dismiss has already been filed after all this conversation is happening. Okay, it's filed on the 8th. Do you think she's still going to deny? No. He says she's going to come clean. Too many people saw this. Me too. I think they'll admit it. It would have been the smart thing to do. They should have just admitted it, right? They would have saved themselves perjury charges, but they didn't. So then she texts him another message on 1/24, and I'm going to need you to be here. Let's see what happens next. This is from Phil Holloway on X. He says, wow. Okay, so Bradley says, okay, cool. I'll be subpoenaed. I'll show up there. No problem. Says, hey, Terrence. Ashley responds, says, hey, Terrence, I'm subpoenaing Chris Campbell and Nathan's office stuff. I fear it would look suspicious. It would like suspicious if I did not also subpoena you, but I plan on putting Nathan and Fani on the stand and only have others under subpoena for backup. I will leave you out, but I think if I don't subpoena you, it would look fishy. What do you want me to do? She's being a very good defense attorney and, being cooperative with her witness, trying to get this dude. So she says, do you want me to subpoena you? What do you want me to do? Terrence Bradley says, I'm okay with it. Subpoena me, no problem. Ashley Merchant liked it, says, I'm okay with it. Perfect. Ashley says, it's my hope they do the right thing before then. Save us all this trouble. It's my hope that they do the right thing before then. Now, Terrence responds, this is crazy. He says, you are my friend, Ashley, and I trust you. They will not do the right thing. So his tune has changed a little bit, right? He says that they will not. They're arrogant as F. She thinks she won the other day when she didn't have to be deposed. So she's, walking around big fannies, I'm the biggest fanny in Georgia. Don't you know who I am? Ashley says that wasn't a win. Thompson set them up. Nathan can admit it all in the 31st. And if he doesn't, then Thompson is going to make Fani sit. Thompson will make Fani sit. I think they're talking about the divorce deposition. Thompson set them up. Nathan can admit it all in the 31st. And if he doesn't, then Thompson will make Fani sit. So he basically gave Nathan a chance to protect her, and Nathan did. But if he doesn't tell all, then Fani is going to have to sit. And I think that's the divorce talk. But then Ashley, again, this is 1/24. This is not like 2 years ago, as he was saying. This is all recent. Nathan's finances make it look like he owed a lot of money when he began this. Oh, Terrence says, owed to who? Owed money to who? Terrence says, no, that's not true. Weird. Okay. So like Terrence is giving us some accuracy, right? Merchant is like, I think I have more dirt on this guy. He's like, well, I wouldn't go that far, right? That makes this even seem more credible. If he's willing to say some of that's not true, he's not just like this guy, like, yeah, go get him for everything, right? Just go get him. He's like, no, that's not true. He says, owed to who? What, loans? She put a question mark, right? On iMessage. Not true. She says, it may just be a coincidence, but he was highly leveraged. Terrence Bradley says, that's on paper. And Ashley says, well, what do you mean by that? Right? So in other words, maybe Wade, this series of loans that he's got, and he's using it to avoid paying income taxes or something, right? I can't. I'm in the hole, government. I got loans out here for this and this and this. And it's all just, fictional. He's just moving money around and he's doing it to avoid income. Got to repay this back. Got to repay that, right? Who knows what he's doing? But these guys' books were not above board either. So Ashley says, well, what do you mean? What do you mean about that? And of course, we'll see if that goes on. Here's another one from Phil. This one is another text that says, where did that one go? Says on 1/14, Terrence Bradley says, like, she needs to fire Nathan, but she won't. Yeah, no, she won't, but she doesn't dispute it. Ashley says she will go down in flames for Nathan. And that's what's happening right now. It's like a slow train wreck. Terrence Bradley says, did you see this? Here's a news article. It's WSB-TV News, Atlanta. Fulton County DA Fani speaks for the first time after the allegations of the special prosecutor affair. So that must be her church speech. Remember when she came out at church and said, why am I being criticized because of a black man? And we said, well, because you slept with him and paid him $1 million. That's why. Did you do that with Anna Cross? I don't think so. Did you do that with the other white guy who wrote the book on Rico? No, you didn't. That's why, Fani. It's not racist. It's because you're corrupt. So Terrence on the 14th is even sending her news. Says, did you see this? She says, yep. She all but admitted the relationship. She told her defense that she wasn't going to deny the affair, but now she is flawed. fraud, and he is qualified. So today did not go well for her, says Ashley. Not sure who advises her to do that, but that backfired big time. And yeah, she's doubling down. All of this is doubling down on something that's already been exposed, which is a stupid thing to do, unless you think you're going to win. You know, she's already caught. Terrence Bradley's here, says, you know, I hated her pandering to the black church, saying he was good enough for the white Republicans in good old Cobb County, but not good enough for me. What's the difference? Terrence Bradley says that burned me up, man. Yeah, he was good enough for the white Republicans in good old Cobb County, but not good enough for me. And what's the difference? Well, you slept with him and paid him $1 million, give or take, over the last several years. And so again, shout out to Phil Holloway for dropping the goods. And he was over there with Megyn Kelly today, and Megyn Kelly had another big drop as well. So congrats to Megyn Kelly and to Phil Holloway for the big break. And it is really great to see the materials. And so hopefully we see more of them. I know there's like 31 pages of them. And so of course, as those drop, we are going to continue to cover them. Go make sure you give him some love. And so we're very grateful to have those texts. So thank you for those, Phil. Now, some analysis, some reaction to some of this stuff. The government prosecutors there, they say, we don't even care. It's all good. It's like, you know, they haven't proven their case. And here's one example from local news. This is a former Cobb County prosecutor who says it's not that big of a deal at all. Here's this report from in Fulton County.
And Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade from prosecuting former President Donald Trump and others in the election interference case.
11 Alive's Molly Oak is looking at if testimony could influence a decision and what comes next in this case.
What's coming next?
I do not know when the relationship started.
Credibility issues with the witness. That's what former DeKalb District Attorney Robert James says was a big takeaway from court.
The defense took turns, you know, and I'll use a legal term of art, beating up on him, right? And they did. They beat up on him. And there was a lot of, I don't remember, I don't recall. But here's what we have to keep in perspective. He is not the DA's office witness, right? He's not the state's witness. He is the defendant's witness. They put him up, presumably to affirmatively prove that, you know, that this relationship or affair began before they said it began. And, you know, he never acknowledged that.
He is Terrence Bradley, a former law partner.
But he's not credible. And he did make some other pretty serious admissions that Fani was at their office. Don't know why she'd be doing that if she was the DA. And Fani also invited Nathan back to her office when she was not the DA. So there's a lot of indicia of a relationship. And this dude's credibility is shot. No one believes him at all.
Partner and divorce attorney for Nathan Wade. But at the end of the day, James says it's not the relationship timeline that's the focus. It's if there was financial gain.
Look, sex sells, right? It's interesting. Everybody wants to talk about it. It's controversial. But at the end of the day, the judge, you know, his job is to be objective, and he's not caught up in who's, you know, involved in a relationship with who, you know, unless it proves financial benefit or financial gain on the part of the DA. And that's the ultimate question.
Another question?
That's so ridiculous. It's not about that anymore. We're way beyond financial benefit. Perjury. Is Fani going to be charged? Is she going to be disbarred? Is the office going to be disqualified? Or is the sanction going to be so bad that it will not only be disqualification, but it will ultimately be dismissal?
He's going to have to make a decision, he being the judge, whether or not there is evidence in this case that the DA financially benefited from her relationship with Nathan Wade.
And if that were to happen, it would impact the current prosecution of former President Donald Trump.
If that's the case and he excludes the DA from the case, then her entire staff is excluded from the case. And so the case has to move from Fulton County to another DA's office in another county. A special prosecutor has to be appointed. And essentially we start all over.
Which is what they do not want to have happen. And so that's probably likely where this is going. Now, even Congress is paying attention to this. We've got Marsha Blackburn, a senator, coming up. Andy Biggs from Arizona is coming up. Everybody's keeping their eyes on this. We know that Jim Jordan has been in contact with a whistleblower from Fulton County and has also sent subpoenas over to Fani-Willis as well. So there's a lot cooking. I know America First Legal filed a lawsuit. The Georgia Senate is sending subpoenas probably soon. There's a whole Senate resolution that's like a Fani-Willis J6 committee hearing. I mean, it's about to get hot in Georgia. And so that is not only my take, that's Andrew Weissmann's take. And he is a former Trump prosecutor. And if he's out here saying Fani is in a hot mess, you know things are a little bit rough over there. Here he was on MSNBC explaining.
So I really don't blame the defense. The defense is supposed to raise these kinds of issues.
That's true.
And just to be fair, the hearing then became a bit of a hot mess. That's the polite term.
All these technical legal terms.
Yes,
I really
exactly.
appreciate you guys today.
And so it really has become about whether there's a cover-up. And to be fair to the defense...
Covering up, the conspiracy goes like this, that she planned to have an affair with the second person she planned to hire to help with the case, and then he would buy her half of a meal?
Well, she and he have said...
Nice job. Is that Nicole? Is that her name? Oh, gosh.
No, when Wade was hired, there was no relationship going on. That's a contested issue. Second, they have said they roughly split the costs. That's a contested issue because there aren't a lot of hard records for that, hence all this information about cash and how that worked. To be fair to the defense today with respect to Mr. Bradley, there were communications between Mr. Bradley and the defense where he apparently sent texts, God knows why he was doing it, but to the defense counsel.
Because he was busting her. He was telling the truth. He was being open. He was disgusted by this conduct from Fani and Nathan. That's why. He was telling the truth. Someone got to him, man, and I don't know what they got on him, but he flipped hard.
Saying, I know that they were having an affair before Wade was hired. Well, that's directly contrary to what Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade testified
in their affidavit.
And so he said that, and he said, I absolutely know that's true. So they have that as a message. So, you know, it's fair for them to call him. Then he testifies and says, I was purely speculating. Now, the judge is going to have to make a decision about whether that's credible or not. But you realize that this has sort of gone down this rabbit hole from an incredibly historic, important indictment.
That hurts.
And even if this all ends up going well for the Georgia prosecutor, there's this taint that I think was needlessly inflicted by a judge who might be very well intentioned, but I think was really inexperienced in terms of having this kind of hearing.
Oh, ridiculous. Give me a break, Andrew. So first of all, every judge is experienced with this type of a hearing, okay? You don't have this normally go on in law. When lawyers get busted, okay, normally lawyers realize, like, they're not idiots. They go, I've been busted. Okay, I'm so sorry. Like, there are these different indicia when you get a bar complaint. You know, you say, was that person remorseful? Did they take remedial steps? Like, were they willing to correct themselves and all this? If you double down on it and now you say, now I'm under attack, and, you know, then the bar really has a problem with that. So my point is, you don't see behavior like Nathan Wade and Fani Willis in most jurisdictions. Most of the time, prosecutors, you know, I have a lot of strong opinions about them, and they are in many ways problematic, but not this problematic, all right? And so the point is, no judge is going to have the DA come on there and scream at everybody and act like a maniac in court, and then have another attorney come in and lie and say the opposite of what he said previously. But I got to say, Weissmann was pretty accurate on this. It was a hot mess, and Nicole's trying to say, like, Fanny's under attack. She can't see the same things we're watching, but they are recognizing, I think, that this is not going good for her, and that, you know, even Weissmann has to recognize a bad situation when we see it. So we also have Senator Marsha Blackburn. She is commenting on this, and she saw the same thing we did, saying this dude is about as evasive as it gets. So let's hear what she said about this on with Newsmax.
They're stunned.
Right in and get your reaction to what everybody's watching.
Yes, everyone is watching this, and I think they're stunned when they have seen these text messages that have come from Nathan Wade, and now they're hearing as they take the stand, whether it is the star witness, this attorney, or it was Fani Willis or Nathan Wade, they're all of a sudden having amnesia and not able to recall dates and times and places. But what the American people want to see is an end to two tiers of justice. And they know that much of this has come at President Trump. They want to see everyone treated equally under the law. If Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had an inappropriate relationship, they want to see that properly dealt with within the rule of law.
And guys like Weissmann say that it was a historic indictment. You know, wow, so incredible, so amazing. No, it wasn't. It was all birthed out of this disgusting relationship between these two. That's the point, that she hired her lover to go and prosecute a case, knowing it was going to be a national case. She could pay him $1 million, go on vacays with her boyfriend. It wasn't historic. That just got deviated all of a sudden because their affair came out. It was corrupt from the beginning. The whole thing from its original source was tainted.
Yeah, Senator, it almost seems right now that we're getting to that point where, is this about lying or is this about covering up the crime?
Yeah.
When we're watching this line of questioning here from Trump's legal team, which is Steve Sadow, he's really zeroing in here on Terrence Bradley to get him to acknowledge specifically what he knows, but he's tap dancing around a lot of these questions.
And, you know, you have to look at perjury and exactly how they're answering these questions. As you're saying, there's a lot of fancy footwork going on. There's a lot of trying to avoid the question. And there is playing that old game of CYA. And I think the American people can see this. I am pleased that they're showing so much of this court proceeding because, as I said, the American people know there's two tiers of justice. They are fed up with it. They've grown ill and fatigued with the FBI and the Department of Justice and some of the Soros-backed DAs that continue to operate with two tiers of justice, that continue to try to find ways to make illegal legal and try to find ways to circumvent the rule of law.
Good stuff. Okay, Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee. And I think she's right about this, that this amnesia is something we can all see through. It's not a good shtick, right? You're a lawyer. We know you remember a bunch of stuff. The dates all match up. You guys just be honest about it. But if they are honest about it, then they're going to resign in disgrace, and they'd rather be taken out as martyrs and blame the other side for it and just maintain and cling to power. Now, Andy Biggs is a representative from Arizona, and he was here explaining that a lot of this same maneuver is also being used in the Hunter Biden case, where you have these scandals where everybody just lawyers up and you have no distinction between the bro talk and the pro talk. What is privileged, what is not privileged? Here is Andy Biggs from Arizona. Shout out.
Kevin Morris, who is Hunter Biden's attorney, was claiming as well, I'm his attorney, but we're good buddies. And he was trying to say that he didn't have to testify to virtually everything we were asking him. He was trying to claim attorney-client privilege. But the reality is, as this judge has correctly noted, there is a line between what you're doing on behalf of a client and what you're doing with a friend. And sometimes what your friend tells you is not privileged and is not a closed secret. It can be open to the public.
That's what we have now. And it's pretty obvious that Terrence Bradley knows a lot more than he let on. And the question is, are we going to get to the bottom of it? Now, Fani is in also some more hot water because apparently the Georgia Senate is going to be escalating their investigation. This came over from Breitbart. They say the Georgia Senate is about to authorize a subpoena-powered probe into Fani's misconduct. Wendell Hasibo wrote this one. It wasn't this week because this article came out about 6 days ago, but soon, maybe by the end of this week, we'll see that there will be a subpoena-powered investigative committee that is enacted to probe the alleged corruption of Fani Willis. The proposed Georgia Senate committee could hold subpoena power as soon as later this week, to secure the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and materials. That's according to a Georgia state senator called Greg Dolezal. The committee would be the only type of its kind in the state of Georgia, almost like a J6 committee. Oh, that's fun. It would comprise 9 senators, 3 of whom would be Democrats. That sounds fair. Yeah, so 6-3, that's fair because the J6 committee was 7-2, I believe. 7 Democrats, 2 so-called Republicans, Liz Cheney and Kinzinger, which nobody believes are actual Republicans. So that's fair. If it was 7-2 on the J6 committee, 6-3 is even more generous. They get an extra person. So the Georgia legislature has a responsibility to hold public officials accountable. That came out from Georgia Governor Burt Jones. And the timeline for the creation of this committee, it appears to be imminent. Dolezal will introduce the resolution on Monday. Then it will likely be assigned to the Senate Rules Committee on Tuesday. Upon approval from the Rules Committee, a Senate floor vote will be scheduled as soon as this week. If passed by the Senate, the Committee on Assignments will then appoint the members. And then this whole thing can really get going. And so there was a little bit more on this. This is the resolution that was ultimately submitted, and I do believe this was passed some time ago, actually. It created the Special Senate Committee on Investigations. They say it's come to the attention of the Georgia Senate through public reports and court filings that Fani, the DA for Atlanta Judicial Circuit, which comprises Fulton, has been accused of various forms of misconduct related to the prosecution of the RICO case. And this alleged misconduct, now this is the Senate, okay, this is not the court digging in. This alleged misconduct includes the ongoing expenditure of significant public funds to Nathan Wade, with whom she had an ongoing romantic relationship. And if this relationship, if proven to exist, it would constitute a clear conflict of interest and fraud upon the taxpayers of Georgia. And it would establish grounds for her recusal from further involvement in the prosecution and requiring a special prosecutor to be appointed and even disciplined by the State Bar of Georgia and other entities. They say Georgia has already borne a significant financial cost in hiring all this. There was a sprawling investigation. Maybe, they were on cruises a lot. Maybe they did or not. Now, if proven true, the allegations against Willis would bring her office into disrepute. Too late for that. Undermine public confidence in the trial. Too late for that. And cast significant doubt as to the validity of the charges that are brought by her office. And this is why Fani is such a beautiful representative of the blue prosecutors. She's like a caricature of a corrupt prosecutor, and she's basically their mascot for the rest of these prosecutions. This couldn't be worse for them in terms of PR. Now, these allegations may show that existing state laws, including these processes, are inadequate to verify and to solve this. And so the Senate has the power to make new laws, and the Constitution provides us the power to do that, and so that's exactly what we're doing. And we're exercising these powers to determine if this is true or in part, so we can make some changes. Maybe we'll reappropriate some money that she has gobbled up and paid to her lover. And so here's the creation. Committee shall be comprised of no more than 9 members, at least 3 of whom shall be from the minority. All members shall be appointed. The rest of that is there. So we'll see if this one actually gets some momentum there in Georgia. I certainly hope it does, because DA's office is disgusting and corrupt, and that is good news that they're investigating what's happening there. So, my friends, another breaking news day, and shout out to Phil Holloway and to Megyn Kelly for dropping those texts and for getting their hands on them. We, of course, are going to be here continuing to cover this saga and more, and we're coming back on Friday for summation argument. So make sure that you mark your calendars, subscribe, hit that like button so you don't miss us, but it's going to be near the end of the line here for Fani-Wade, and we're going to be here covering it. We also got some great stuff in the description box, some great links, robertgovea.com if you want to grab any of the PDFs we talk about here on the show. We also have watcherlodge.com where we have free events coming up. We'd love to see you join us. It's sovereignty and self-development. We're trying to improve our lives and our communities there. And also, of course, our members only community where we do live streams every morning, including on Saturdays at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. My friends, wherever you join us, we'll be looking forward to seeing you back here on the next one.